3 baby dragons had just hatched from their eggs. But while the dragon mother was away, the ruthless king gave a cruel order. He commanded his soldiers to execute the newborn hatchlings. Under the soldiers' sharp blades, the 3 dragons were slaughtered on the very first day of their lives. Their cries echoed through the mountains. The dragon mother heard them and rushed back in fury, but she was too late. When she saw the lifeless bodies of her children, something inside her broke. The enraged dragon unleashed a river of molten fire. The soldiers were burned to ash in seconds. The king dropped to his knees, begging for mercy. The dragon did not kill him. She wanted him to live. She wanted him to understand what it felt like to lose his own blood. From that day forward, every new king was forced to offer 3 daughters as tribute. But the royal family was more deceitful than she expected. They stopped sacrificing their own blood. Instead, they lured girls from outside the kingdom. They used royal marriages as bait. The prince would fall in love, propose, and promise a crown. Then the royal blood would be mixed with the bride's in secret. Those innocent girls would be sent to die in place of the princesses. Ilo never imagined she was one of them. On the very first night of her wedding, the prince led her to a cliff. Without warning, he pushed her into the abyss. She fell into darkness, meant to be a sacrifice for the dragon. Vines slowed her fall just enough to keep her alive. Bruised and terrified, she screamed for help. Her voice echoed through the cavern, but instead of rescue, her cry awakened something else. The dragon opened its eyes. Scattered jewelry and a fallen crown lay on the cave floor. Ilo suddenly understood. She had been tricked into marriage and offered as tribute. A faint glow flickered deeper in the cave. She moved toward it carefully. A burning bird struggled on the ground. Even trapped in danger, Ilo knelt down and tried to put out the flames. Then a thunderous sound shook the cavern. Dozens of flaming birds burst into the air. She froze in shock. Behind her, a massive shadow rose. Ilo turned and ran. She hid behind a stone pillar, but the dragon had already caught her scent. It could smell royal blood in her veins. She looked down at her own hands, and she tried to explain. It was too late. The dragon inhaled deeply. Molten fire poured from its mouth. Ilo ran for her life. If she had wings, she would have flown out of that hell. The dragon attacked again. She barely dodged and hid in a corner. The flames scorched her thigh. Even injured, the dragon did not stop. Ilo bit down on her fear and stayed silent. Hearing nothing, the dragon slowly withdrew. Seizing the chance, she crawled deeper into the cave. She slipped and fell into a lower chamber. Strange blue lights glowed ahead, but a cliff blocked her path. She had nowhere left to go. Gathering every ounce of courage, she jumped toward the opposite slope. She barely made it. The crystal walls were too smooth. She began sliding down. Her clothes snagged on a crack in the rock. Using that grip, she pulled herself up. A small pool of water shimmered nearby. She rushed toward it and drank. The water was bitter and undrinkable. She looked up at icicles hanging above. She stood beneath them, trying to catch the melting drops. A shadow suddenly passed overhead. The temperature in the chamber rose instantly. The dragon had returned. It was preparing another blast of molten fire. Ilo dove aside just in time. The second chase began. The dragon's massive body got stuck in a narrow passage. In the silence that followed, Ilo collapsed from exhaustion. When she woke up, strange insects were crawling over her burned leg. She panicked and tore off the bandage. Then she realized something incredible. The creatures were healing her wound. Her skin slowly began to close. With new strength, she searched for an exit. At last, she saw sunlight filtering through a vertical crystal shaft. Hope returned, but the shaft was lined with razor-sharp crystals. One slip would mean death. She wrapped cloth around her hands and feet. She picked up the fallen crown and began climbing. Ilo had grown up poor. She was never truly royalty. She was stronger than they expected. Step by step, she climbed. Suddenly, the dragon appeared below. Her foot slipped. Cracks formed in the crystal wall. The crown wedged into a gap and stopped her fall. She kept climbing. Finally, she reached the top. Freedom was within reach, but outside was another cliff. One trap replaced another. In desperation, she spotted travelers below. She screamed for help. Her voice once again drew the dragon's attention.
There's no way out, princess.
Old markings on the wall showed that others had tried to escape. Their remains had been burned to ash. Then she heard her father's voice. He had come to save her. He and another man had followed her trail to the dragon's lair. Inside were piles of gold and jewels, and 3 small dragon skeletons. That was when Ilo finally understood the truth. The dragon had lost her children too. Before she could react, the dragon returned. It grabbed one of the men effortlessly. He was tossed aside like a broken toy. The second man tried to flee. The dragon caught him just as easily. To the dragon, humans were nothing. Her father stepped forward despite the fear. He spoke not with hatred, but with sorrow. The dragon hesitated. It had believed all humans were selfish. Yet this man had risked everything for his daughter. The dragon pressed him to the ground. One claw pierced his chest. Ilo stepped out of hiding. She begged the dragon to stop. Her father was dying. He urged her to run. She climbed the rope he had used to enter. The dragon turned back toward her. She reached the top just in time. She mounted a white horse and fled, but wings are faster than hooves. She knew she couldn't outrun it, so she let the horse run free to distract the dragon. She hid beneath a massive stone. From the dragon's view, both girl and rider had vanished. It felt mocked. Enraged, it unleashed fire across the land.
Where are you going?
To fix this.